Have you ever had the feeling something isn't quite right? Tonight, we look at several cases of glitches in the Matrix. Lock your windows, lock your doors, and enter the alternate nightmare. Me and my friends were on our 40-plus hour road trip across the country. We got to talking about glitches in the Matrix and the Mandela effect. We're both from the universe before the switch. You know, J.C. Penney without the extra E, Karate Kid with the red headband, etc. But we never thought we'd experience a real-time glitch for ourselves, not even an hour after. It's me, my friend, her teenage daughter, and her daughter's boyfriend. We're hauling horses 1,500 miles across the U.S., so when stopped this part of car time, my friend and her daughter ran in to pee while I checked the ponies. I also really had to pee, so I made sure they were standing, filled their water, and headed to the door. I notice a mom and her young son making their way to the door at about the same pace as myself. I remember thinking, oh no, they are probably heading to the bathroom as well. And if it's small, I'll probably have to wait. Should I try to run ahead? Nah, the little boy may have to go just as badly as I do. I held the door open for them, and just as I figured, they make a beeline to the bathroom. I follow, and just as they open the bathroom door, my friend is standing there also reaching for the door. They do a little awkward dance to get around each other. Mom and son make a left inside the door, and I step back to let my girlfriend out. I give her a dumb line like, oh, fancy meeting you here, or something, and walk in after them. The bathroom was small, only 2 stalls, and about enough space for one person to stand inside the door and wait. Both stalls were closed, so that's what I did. Right when you walked in, there was a small stall straight ahead, the handicapped stall on the left, where I assumed the mom and son went, and the sink directly on the right. You could reach out your arms and touch them all in the space I was standing. As I was waiting, I noted how quiet it was. Not a lot of shuffling, like you might hear if 2 people were navigating the same bathroom stall, nor any talking. Maybe mom and son just knew the routine and didn't talk much. The stall in front of me finally opened and a young girl came out. I quickly rushed in. The toilet sat directly in the middle of the crack between the door and wall. Great. That meant I could see the door and almost the entire bathroom. I heard the handicap door open, and out walks my friend's daughter. If she was in the handicapped stall, where were the mom and son? They definitely didn't walk past me, and I would have noticed if they walked out after me. I sat down. I finished up and walked out of the bathroom, scanning the small gas station and parking lot for them. Nothing. I don't know what car they got out of, so I don't know if it was still there. I went back to see if there was maybe a family bathroom door close to the women's, that they had somehow walked back out without me noticing, and rushed into the family bathroom or something. But there wasn't. I asked my friend if she remembered the lady that almost ran into her in the bathroom. She did, so I know that part was real. I asked her if she remembered seeing where she went after she walked in. She couldn't remember. I know this isn't overly scary or interesting, but it's hurting my head to think about. I absolutely cannot figure out where they could have gone, or if perhaps it was just a true glitch in the Matrix. When I was about 17, I went on a day trip with my mother to a beach that we'd heard about. She knew how to get most of the way there, so she memorized the last few MapQuest directions instead of printing them out. It's almost entirely farmlands the whole way, so long straight roads with very few intersections. We had been driving through farmland for about 30 minutes, and the road we were on was supposed to intersect the town's main road at some point, but we kept driving and didn't find any intersections for a while. Finally, we pulled into a gas station to ask how to get to the beach. The cashier pointed the way we came and said, "Take this road, you'll drive straight into the lake." We hesitantly drove the way she told us, even though it was exactly the road we came from, and after a minute or 2 of driving straight, it was a completely different road. Instead of wide open farms we'd seen the whole way here, there were now churches and houses and yard sales and banks and traffic lights. And sure enough, less than 10 minutes later, the road ended at a T, looking straight out over Lake Ontario, which is hard to miss. After taking a moment to be absolutely bewildered, we assumed we'd somehow merged onto the road at an angle without realizing. Later at home I looked it up on Google Maps. There are no slanted intersections between the beach and the gas station. Only a handful of perfectly perpendicular intersections with either traffic lights or stop signs. Not only that, but a creek runs parallel to the main road, so we would have had to cross a bridge to get to the main road. We did not cross a bridge. The creek is quite wide, so we should have noticed if we had crossed. I really want to chalk it up to some kind of illusion of unfamiliar territory, and we somehow turned right with neither of us realizing it, even though we were fairly on alert and checking every street sign for the main road, and our destination was to the left, so we had no reason to make any right turns. My mom still tells that story despite being a strong skeptic. It's pretty tame, but still the most unexplainable thing that's ever happened to us. We've gone back many times since and never found what possibly could have confused us. If anyone wants to check it out on Google Maps, the town is Olcott on Lake Ontario in New York. The road is Route 78, and the gas station is Kenyon's. We were coming from the west, and the end destination plugged into MapQuest was Olcott Beach Lighthouse. Story 1. I died last night, so this actually happened last week. It just took me some time to come to terms with it. I got a phone call from my next-door neighbor late in the evening, asking if I can help him move a mattress into his upstairs. His mom is ill and has a big heavy sleep number bed. I, of course, ran over to help because they're great neighbors. I get over there, and his friend, who is also a priest, was there to help. I helped them figure out how to separate the mattress from the bed so we could fit it upstairs. We get it all moved up and back in place when my neighbor asks if I can help them move an armoire upstairs too. I think nothing of it, and we pull it out of his travel trailer and start bringing it up the front stairs of his house. This is where I died. The front stairs are 11 steps. I was on the lower end of the armoire, about 6 steps up, when my neighbor and his friend lose a handle on the armoire, and it comes crashing down on me. I fall backwards towards the pavement. I then wake up in my dining room to my phone ringing, and my wife asking me if I'm going to answer the phone. It's my neighbor, asking me if I can help move a bed upstairs for his mom. I go over there and meet his priest friend again, as this has been the first time I met him. I say I can help with the bed, but I cannot help with the armoire. My neighbor was like, "How'd you know about the armoire?" I then proceeded to tell them I'm pretty sure I just died. I spent the next hour talking with the priest. He had so many questions. My neighbor didn't believe it until I described the upstairs bedroom in perfect detail down to the metal mattress frame on the floor and the intricate headboard leaning against the wall, and I had never been upstairs in their house before. The priest asked me what I saw after I died. I told him I never actually died. Before it happened, I woke up at my dining room table. The creepy radar off was the following. She had the tattoo I always wanted to get, exactly where I wanted to get it, and it's a very personal design, only my best friend knows about, so not a common tattoo. It was speaking my native language with a very distinctive accent of his home country, which is similar, but not the same as the way people from the country we live in speak my language. So I looked at them when they were facing the other way, feeling extremely creeped out. It was then that the woman turned around and saw me, freezing instantly as if she had seen a ghost. Then I finally managed to look away and run towards the exit. I really feel like I'm going insane here. It was as if she remembered that exact moment and knew exactly when and where to look for me. I didn't tell anyone because I don't want them to think I'm completely nuts. Story 3. I died in a car accident. This last summer I was driving on the freeway. I was in the car by myself, and it was a clear sunny day. Not a cloud in the sky. It was a semi, about 50 feet ahead of me, and a red car a couple car lengths behind me. I looked down for a split second to adjust the volume on the stereo, and when I looked up, a thick fog had rolled in, and the semi in front of me was on its side, sliding sideways towards me, fast. I knew I was about to die with absolute certainty. I felt panic, but also this crushing devastation that I wasn't going to be there to see my daughter grow up. I have never felt anything like that before, or since. Blind terror, overwhelming sadness, the knowledge that this was the end, and grief because I wasn't ready. I opened my mouth to gasp, or scream, or something, I must have blinked in that moment, because suddenly the day was sunny again. The semi was upright and driving normally, still about 50 feet ahead of me, and the red car was still a few car lengths behind me. I was shook. I had to pull over on the freeway to have a meltdown because seconds before, I'd been about to die. I just sat in the car for a few minutes in shock. I know what I experienced. I was 100% sober. I have never hallucinated. I am a very sensible and skeptical person, but I cannot explain what happened that day. Premonition. Did I die in an alternate universe? Has anyone else experienced something like this? If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe for more stories of horror, fright, and terror.